We are back. Whirlwind trip that took us to Cincinnati and Miami. We had to do some work, USA Mexico related, for Univision and Combate Global. I want to thank everyone in Cincinnati that made our wonderful stay. El Tri Online, Joe Rodriguez, Ramon Chavez, Super Mojado. Did you see our pregame show with the stadium in the back? Just spectacular. That is what we are all about. I keep telling you that we're going to do cool stuff, and we're doing it. And it takes a lot of work, but I enjoy it. It is very fulfilling. Want to say thank you to the folks at The Pitch in Cincinnati. I know we said that during the broadcast of our pre-game show, and they could not have been nicer, and you cannot beat that shot. U.S. Soccer was there, American Outlaws. It was great to see so many people. And obviously the net result. So I have like 11 pages of information about this game. And my cup runneth over, and I'm going to try and trim the fat and get to the important stuff, because there is so much here in a matchup that, well, I don't think it's ever going to be this big again in really ever, right? I mean, are we going to compare World Cup qualifying to the Gold Cup or the Nations League? No. If they play in the World Cup like they did in 2002, obviously that supersedes it. But what is it? What are the chances of that happening? Maybe. Man, I would love to see it. That was so amazing in 2002 when the USA played Mexico in a World Cup round of 16 game. I pinched myself and go, this is crazy. It's my favorite fixture. We know that they already are qualified for the next World Cup. 2030, there's going to be 700 teams in the World Cup, so qualifying is not going to be a big deal. And again, both these teams will probably be qualified for March. So soak it all in. Here on the Soccer OG, we are a traveling road trip. We were in Denver. We were in Las Vegas. We were in Cincinnati. Who else is doing that? So the Soccer OG podcast with Tom Galerter and the El Tri Online folks, it's been wonderfully received. It's been my best week of the podcast by a long shot. Check it out. New podcast coming out here around this game. And we talk about everything, obviously, but this is the most interesting thing happening right now. And please like and subscribe our videos here so we can continue to develop a travel budget. I don't know where we're going next, but we don't have USA Mexico for a minute. And we got very lucky with 3 games, which were all won by the United States, which is mind-blowing. And 3 games, granted all here in the United States, and the United States won them all very differently. This was a pretty... I mean, I was following along. I watched it again this morning, so the first viewing I wasn't really locked in, and people were really gripping, saying, what's going on in this first half? I got to tell you, I thought the U.S. set the table wonderfully in the first half. They showed you what they were going to do, and they did it. And they pressed that Mexican back line. When I saw that, Greg Berhalter played it right. I mean, what do you do here? You press their weak spot. With all the injuries, you make those defenders make a play. And what happened? After a few minutes, Tecatito, Chucky, Raul Jimenez barely touched the ball. That's a great game plan. So 26,000 in Cincinnati. Great to see that on a cold November day. You got to love it. And we got to work on the songs a little bit. The atmosphere is good when we score goals, but the rest of it, I got some ideas. So if anyone wants to sit and talk about it, we can do it. There was criticism about the ESPN broadcast, I think, as they have switched channels. I mean, look, ESPN is the best one. CBS is experimenting with a U.S. soccer show. They're not there yet. Fox has some limitations. I enjoy their broadcast too, but ESPN, John Champion is the best play-by-play guy on the planet. He is the best. Yes, he's English, and he's been a guest on our podcast, but he has so much respect for the game and the sport here. He is the best play-by-play guy in the business. And Taylor has put his time in as well. So I got no criticism for ESPN. Some of the... Jermaine Jones has a long way to go. Use my guy Hercules more. And obviously, Casey Keller and Sebi does a great job. All those guys, I think ESPN's coverage is good. I think it's better than the other ones. So we can argue about that. It's not about ESPN. Let's get into the starting 11. And I know I said here that I thought Paul Arriola was going to start. I was shocked he didn't start. Not shocked, somewhat shocked. This is a starting 11, and we all have discourse here where we get really into who should play. And obviously, the Rat Pack, Leggett, Ariola, Roldan. That was the majority of it. The other guys weren't really amongst the Gyasi Zardes as part of that Rat Pack too. Not in the starting 11. It was the guys that we've been screaming for pretty much, with the exception of DeAndre Yedlin. We didn't get Joe Scally. He didn't dress, but Yedlin proved to be a very wise choice. So we had Zach Steffen, which we kind of thought was going to go, and that turned out to be a really good decision too. And maybe Zach Steffen doesn't need to play all the time. I would say, and this is going to be one of my talking points, let's see this happen on the road. Let's see this happen in Jamaica. Let's see this happen in Costa Rica at the Azteca in these road games, because clearly it's two different USA teams. But that's fine. Everyone's going to struggle on the road here in CONCACAF. It's a foregone conclusion. Zach Steffen, Anthony Robinson, Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, DeAndre Yedlin, your back four, McKennie Adams, Musa, the expected midfield, Aronson, Pepe, and Weah. It was either going to be Weah or Aronson. And Tim Weah, just spectacular. A lot of man of the match shouts. I kind of liked what Aronson did. He was the guy leading that press and complicating things. Tyler Adams was fantastic. Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa. They ate Hector Herrera's lunch. They just tore him to pieces. And even Edson Alvarez couldn't get going. So that U.S. midfield, chef's kiss. Not a lot of substitutions. Obviously, we'll get to Christian Pulisic, who was the big one who came in. But this is a starting 11 that everyone could be happy. I know we get all bent out of shape. And I know there's a lot of vitriol sent Greg Berhalter's way. But I got to say this. He nailed it. And this win takes the pressure off Jamaica. They could lose to Jamaica. Jamaica very disappointed to just get a point. They were beating El Salvador. Alex Roldan scored late, and we'll look at the standings and what it has done. It's really created a have and have-nots in the 8-team qualifying round. But I just want to take a minute and say, let's ease off on the Berhalter out. Let's just take a minute, take a breath. Let's give him some credit. Greg Berhalter was never my first choice. My first choice was Tata Martino. But this guy deserves our respect. And let's lose the hashtags. It could go pear-shaped and we could bring the criticism back again. But Berhalter really nailed this one. And he has the United States in first place in qualifying. And he has beaten Mexico 3 times. This is science fiction, what I'm telling you. After not qualifying for the World Cup, after the halfway point we're first, and 3 wins over Mexico. So remember, and I remind you about this, we are all in this together. I know we get bent out of shape and we get very upset about a few things. I had a guy come up to me and goes, "You owe tactical manager an apology for saying Leggett should have been in the squad." And I said, first of all, tactical manager's my guy. He was on the podcast. Filippo, he's a good dude. I really enjoyed our conversation. And I know people talk about Leggett, but they talk about Berhalter too. So if we're throwing apologies out, this roster, and I was trying to say this as well, and I think I made it pretty clear. That group of players, the Rat Pack we'll call them, they are probably not going to be on that World Cup roster. This group and a few others, this selection turned out to be really good. The game plan was good. And the key young players that are pushing it that weren't there, say, a month ago. Weah, Musa. Obviously, Ricardo Pepi, who I thought was pretty handy. He didn't get the goal, but he was working. You see a guy who comes back to help those wingers and the midfielders. It's important. But let's come all together. Let's be excited about what this team has been doing, and let's give Greg Berhalter some credit because he earned it. Set pieces excellent for this U.S. men's national team. Offensively, defensively, I think Walker Zimmerman's going to be a tough one to keep out. Suspension issues, Miles Robinson getting that red, and Miles Robinson, who just continues to be a plop and play. And I know that's an expression, but you know what you're going to get. That is so rare where you can do that here for the United States men's national team. You've got to find a replacement. Greg Berhalter mentioned he might bring some players in. Maybe John Brooks is one of those guys. Is it Chris Richards' time down there in Kingston? I hope so. He's been around this team enough to see it. This could be a very different 11. You might see the old guard. What Greg has done, he has given the new generation. Look, I tweeted about it and it was very well received tweet. We got a look into the future of U.S. soccer, and it looked fantastic. I mean, think about the players that weren't available. Pulisic off the bench, Gio Reyna not there, Serginho Dest. Well, my goodness. I want to see this team do it on the road, because remember, Berhalter switches it up a bit. But if we see a similar 11, and I think Weah really put his hand up and should start again, then we're seeing that transition, which is maybe what he wanted to do. Greg Berhalter knows he has these incredibly talented players, but you can't just bring all of them in at once. No manager in the international game would do that. He has to have a core of players that have some experience. So that was very good. Let's talk about Christian Pulisic. Came in and made an immediate impact, scored a goal, which we usually don't see. Tim Weah also, I've said this on this program before, the crossing has to get better, and he can cross a ball. Look like his dad. Do you guys remember? This is why I'm the OG. His dad, George Weah, came from Liberia. You know, Liberia has a unique history connected to the United States, has no soccer pedigree whatsoever. George Weah came there and then was this incredible player in the Serie A. One of the most underrated players on the world stage. And when you talk about the 20, 50 best players of all time, he was a former player of the year, Ballon d'Or. Did he win a Ballon d'Or? I think he did. And this is his son. And George Weah is an incredible person who's gone back to Liberia to be the president. We know that's a country that has its issues. And George Weah seems to have been has been a great face for a Liberian revival. And there's his son. So it's beautiful to see the second generation. As I said, there's so much nepotism in the world, but you can't hide your son in this sport. If he's good, he's good. If he's not, he's not. Christian Pulisic comes in and scores and changed it. I just have to give myself pause when I talk about Christian Pulisic because you wait for the injury. But you got a good 25 minutes. Does he start the next game? I still don't think so. But what an incredible option. What incredible luxury to have a guy to come off that bench. A little bit later, a few substitutes. I was really happy to see Jesus Ferreira. He came in for Pepe, get a start, get a cap. Another second-generation footballer. And Kellen Acosta coming in for Yunus Musa late in the game. So he kept it pretty close to his vest, Greg Berhalter. Got the result. We all saw what happened with how they were getting better. The second half, it was one-way traffic. The game plan worked, and Mexico. We look at the standings now, and the United States at 14, Mexico at 14, Canada right there as well after their come-from-behind victory. Not come-from-behind victory, but they scored a late goal to beat Costa Rica. So they're at 13. Panama's at 11. Panama got a second road win. They beat the United States. That loss doesn't look so bad for the U.S. Then there's a big drop to the other four. Jamaica is kicking themselves because they could have got themselves in here. But I think that's the top four. The question is who finishes fourth. I think the United States and Canada are good. Canada hosts Mexico. And Mexico could find themselves in some serious peril at the end of this November window. Panama's got a game against El Salvador. They're expected to win it. Panama's Panama. This is the team. They are getting results. So Panama maybe catches Mexico, and then maybe we have another Graham Zusi things going on for USA to see if I think Mexico makes the World Cup. I'd love Mexico to finish fourth because I think they'll win a playoff. And let's get 4 CONCACAF teams in the World Cup, right? We're all looking out for each other. Christian Pulisic, I'm going to wait till I see a little bit more work, but an incredible impact coming off that bench. And it was just good. It was good spirits all across the board. And I do have to touch on the man in the mirror. And Mexico continues to have incredible quotes about their sport, and you think about 2-0, and it all kind of blows up against them. No era penal, and now by the way, it's 3-0 with the 3 wins. You haven't heard anything new here because I'm sure a lot of people have pumped out some stuff, and it continues on for Mexico. El quinto partido, all these expressions that are just, and now you add man in the mirror, or so just to give it straight, this was from Memo Ochoa. He said the United States, or the mirror in which the United States, Let me get that correct. Mexico is the mirror in which the United States wants to see itself. Pretty innocuous, but you know you're opening it up, and then Christian Pulisic reveals the shirt underneath it. Side note, I'm thrilled that they started playing Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. You know Michael Jackson, we're almost not allowed to sing his music anymore. But it's an incredible music catalog. I want to sing Michael Jackson. I wanted to be a backup singer in Michael Jackson's band. Like when Milli Vanilli, when they found out Milli Vanilli wasn't singing, we weren't allowed, it was like, just pretend it didn't happen. But they had good jams. Ted Nugent, he's a lunatic. But his music's amazing, and I want to see him in concert. I don't want to have to be yelled at if I'm walking. I don't care about his politics. I'm there to see Ted Nugent sing Stranglehold. But I got to sing some Michael Jackson, so that's a good thing. I'm staring in the man in the mirror. Sing it. Do change his ways. Come on, we can sing it again. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at your... My bad. I'm still singing Michael Jackson, okay? Don't at me. I enjoy the music. Memo Ochoa, by the way, he's part of the Mexico problem. 36, you had your time. Someone else, Tata Martino, get out the old guard. Let the kids play. And look, the United States at the beginning of their cycle, you have athleticism, you have speed, you have now technical ability. United States trending upwards, and I got some Michael Jackson in as well. We shall see what is next. This Jamaica game, we will have a complete preview after it. Just a cathartic moment. I loved Eunice. The U.S. players are becoming so marketable. You had Weston McKennie with his Harry Potter wand. It's fantastic. We'll have to see what they do with the suspensions, but Mexico certainly undressed. Tata Martino could be coaching his last game against Canada if they don't get a result. And it is upwards and onwards. And we're all happy to be along the ride. I'm not going to give you all my notes. I think that's enough. I got to sing some Michael Jackson. That's the one thing I wanted to take out of this. So we shall see. Maybe Smooth Criminal, another good jam. Annie, are you okay? Soccer OG, check out the podcast. And yes, like, subscribe, and tell a friend. We will be back here after the Jamaica game. And also coming up, my World Cup 1 year away preview. You don't want to miss that.